Hey there, Dirt Road believers. I'm Tina, and I hope you are having a joyful, wonderful, stupendous, fabulous day. Thanks for being with me. Here on Dirt Road Believer, you may have just found the most wholesome channel in the entire world. We are all about family. We lift up the word of the Lord, and hopefully every devotion is a teachable moment for you. So thank you for those of you who are back with me. Welcome if you're new to Dirt Road Believer. And I just want to say, please like, share, and subscribe this video if you like it. All right, guys, today we are going to a place I've never been before. We've got some guys over that are friends of Max, and we're going to go to Top Golf in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So that will be a new experience. It is so drizzly outside, and I'm so wanting to get back outside and film. But that does not seem like it's going to happen anytime soon because it is dreary, drizzly, cold. So I'm going to be indoors today. So we'll see how this goes. Apparently, there's a covered little pod you can stand in and stay out of the weather, and hopefully they're going to have a heater too for me. So we'll take you along on that little journey, and then we are continuing our series on leadership, which we're using Moses as a basis for. So stick around for our leadership devotion. If you have not been following this and you want to go back, please do go back to the beginning of February. So this is the fifth part of our series on leadership. So if you want to go back, certainly you can catch all of those too. All right, guys, it is a great day. What's that country song? It's a great day to be alive. It is a great day to be alive because every day that we live, we get to live with Christ dwelling in us, and we get to give praise and thanksgiving no matter what crazy is going on in our life. So enjoy this video. See you back here for the devotion. We're getting some gas before we head out to Top Golf. So let's check on our Top Golfers, see how they're doing. So guys, are y'all ready for Top Golf?
Yeah.
Who's gonna talk smack like they're actually gonna win?
Mac.
Me, I know I'm gonna win.
Coleman says
I know I'm not gonna win.
Coleman, you. Exactly. I have the force of the blue stitches.
this is usually the mouth right here that's gonna take it all.
No,
Winner take all. Winner
Yeah.
take all.
Me.
I remember when last year he beat us like on Angry Birds, like
Oh.
barely, like get tipped over.
Oh yeah. Mama. Oh yeah.
Let me see.
You hear that?
Coleman had a knife accident a few days ago, and warning, this may be, what do you call it? Graphic.
It's gonna get amputated. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just like 9/11.
It's a Carrera.
No, it's an 911.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Porsche 911 Carrera.
Study hard
What
in
engine?
school.
What engine?
This is a 3.8 liter, flat six.
I have no clue what this
They're
means, but
quick, they're fun. You won't regret one if you get one.
unless you crash.
Good goal to have, guys. Good goal to have.
The symbol.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Need to have.
I do a good hit. Huh? Yeah, that's a pretty good hit.
No, it's not.
Hey,
Aim for the
yellow.
slant to the like left. Yeah.
You beat it. I can't believe I'm winning.
Oh, Mac,
That was a great hit.
great shot.
Mac, you're getting it right now. There it is.
Hit it big.
Oh, Mac, you hit it.
Kids.
Oh, that was perfect. Right down the middle. No, that's gonna take out a bunch, dude. You got it. It's gun green. It's the steps, I bet. Yeah.
Oh, Coleman, look. Thank you.
No, it doesn't. My hand was green. He said that means it's healing. It is healing.
Yes, if like the parts where it got cut and everything like that, it's green, that means it's healing.
How's the food? How's the food? How's your chicken sandwich? Good.
Throw it! Hit it! Ow!
Okay, balls. One driver and one back.
It's gonna be like
Okay, don't do that anymore. Hey guys, as I said, I much prefer filming outside because inside we have TVs going and boys playing games and bumping around and screaming. So if you hear background noise, that will explain it. So have you ever noticed in your own life that God likes to take you on the scenic route? We have been using Moses as a guide for leadership because he really epitomizes godly leadership. I mean, number one, he does what any great leader aspires to do, which is take a group of people from where they are to somewhere that they have never been before. And so God himself mentors Moses and shapes him into an exemplary leader that everyone can follow. So one of the biggest things that gets in the way of leadership is self. We have it in our mind how things should look, how things should go, and what path we need to take. And once we get that in our head, it's kind of hard to break away from that. You'll remember that that leadership model that I showed you last week was a circle, and God was in the center of it. So like the heart is at the center of the body and it supplies life to all the other parts, so is God to any Christian organization or ministry. Christ is the center of everything, big or small, and everything that we do revolves around God's direction, God's purposes for us. So great spiritual leaders do have a well laid out plan. I don't want you to think that, you know, as spiritual people or leaders that we just kind of float around and just wait for the Holy Spirit to speak to us. No, we have to be proactive. We have a mind that God has given us, so we use it to lay out plans and make decisions to the best of our ability. But then great spiritual leaders also are prepared for God to wreck those plans at any given time. Because God definitely likes us to take the scenic route. He loves the scenic route. So we have to be willing to scrap our well-laid plans and bend to the will of the Father when that is necessary. So those that are going to dig their heels in and just refuse to go in God's direction and are not willing to change their plans because of something God has put in their path, they're always just going to wind up right back at square one every single time. All right, we're going to be in Exodus chapter 13, so if you'll turn there with me in your Bibles. I'm going to start reading in verse 17, the route of the Exodus. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them along the road to the land of the Philistines, even though it was nearby, or the shortest route. For God said, the people will change their minds and return to Egypt if they face war. So he led the people around toward the Red Sea along the road of the wilderness, and the Israelites left the land of Egypt in battle formation. Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear a solemn oath, saying, God will certainly come to your aid. Then you must take my bones with you from this place. They set out from Succoth and camped at Etham on the edge of the wilderness. The Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to lead them on their way during the day, in a pillar of fire to give them light at night, so that they could travel night or day. The pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night never left its place in front of the people. So here we are. It is finally time for the Exodus. He's been through all these plagues and Pharaoh's hardened heart. Finally, we get to leave Egypt. It has been a long time coming. But it's finally happening, and Moses, like any good leader, knows the best way to go. It's the shortest route, right? Every good leader knows that the shortest distance between 2 points is what? A straight line. So he is ready to take his people out. It was this route that he was taking was a major highway, so to speak, that left Egypt. And it was a well-established route, and it was the quickest way to get to freedom. But in God's wisdom, he knew that there were Philistines along that road, and they occupied the territory. And it is said in the second part of verse 17, God said, the people will change their minds and return to Egypt if they face war. So God tells Moses, look, that seems like a great plan. However, you are going to wind up right back where you are if the Philistines try to start war with you, because he knew that his people were not ready for that. So how many times has this happened in your lives? Like, you have a well-laid plan, and for some reason, God reroutes you completely. And then when you get on the other side of it, hindsight shows you that it was for your protection and for your safety that he rerouted you. So I know in my own life, God has done that many times, and I'm sure he has in yours too. So right here in verse 18, we see the scenic route. Let's lead that. So he led the people around toward the Red Sea along the road of the wilderness, and the Israelites left the land of Egypt in battle formation. So we have the scenic route, which, let's see, it's longer, it's more taxing. Oh yeah, and it dead ends right into the sea. Good plan, God, right? Was there any part of Moses that was like, I don't know, God? I don't think there was, because by this point, Moses has learned to trust God. So he goes this way, and we know what God does with dead ends in our lives, right? He busts right through them. What did he do with the Red Sea? He split it wide open, and they crossed on dry ground. Oh yeah, and it folded back in on their enemies. So our God is able, and everybody can see that when our scenic route leads to a dead end, because God has a plan for that as well. So I also find it notable to mention here that God has people in mind for you to take with you in leadership, dead or alive. You'll remember we read in Exodus, I believe it was starting in 19, it says Moses took the bones of Joseph with him because Joseph had made the Israelites swear a solemn oath, saying, God will certainly come to your aid, and then you must take my bones. The whole reason that the Israelites were in Egypt was because of Joseph. You'll remember he brought his family to rescue them during a famine, and that is how the Israelites came to be in Egypt and grew and grew and grew and outnumbered the Egyptians. and became a threat and became their slaves. So Joseph had this foreknowledge that there was going to be a day where the Israelites would be set free, and he made a special note to the Israelites. I don't even know how much time had passed. A lot of time had passed, but they had instructions to take his bones. Now remember, Joseph was an Egyptian leader. He would have been buried in like the Egyptian way. What is that word? Embalmed, mummified in a sarcophagus. So it was no small task for them to go and get Joseph's bones. But great leaders follow in the footsteps of great leaders. They surround themselves with leaders. They're constantly seeking other leaders out. They're talking to them. And also, great leaders will identify other great leaders and leverage them for their success. I mean, when you see someone within your workplace or your organization or your ministry, and they're the kind of person that is going to take initiative, you do not want to suppress that. You want that person on your team. So I love that in the midst of a mass exodus, Joseph's orders are followed to the T, and his body is taken with them. The spiritual leader that I want to take a look at today is Dwight L Moody. You've probably heard of Moody Bible Institute, Moody Radio, Moody Publishing. All of this can be traced back to a wonderful spiritual leader named Dwight L Moody. Moody had a 5th grade education. He became a teenager and wanted employment. So he went to his uncle and asked for a job at his shoe retail store. And Moody had it in his mind that that's where he was going to make his millions. He was going to be a success in the shoe industry. Well, that job from his uncle was contingent on him going to church. And so he did go to church every Sunday. That's where he got saved, and that's where he dedicated his life to the Lord and said that he would serve him all his days. And so he did. He came up, he had his own Sunday school class for children for a long time. He became very involved in the YMCA. He went on to be a pastor of his own church. He married a woman who he really helped organize spiritual training for women, which was huge. I mean, this is in back in the 1800s. And oddly enough, I mean, he had all this stuff going for him. He had all this ministry, and God had a more scenic route in mind for Dwight L Moody. And oddly enough, it started with the Great Fire in Chicago in 1871. This fire and this devastation caused Moody to reevaluate his entire ministry. And what he discovered in that reevaluation was that he had always done good, godly things, and then after he stepped out and did it, he went back and asked for God's blessing on it. And so he decided to flip that and completely reverse it, and first ask God, what do you want me to do? And wow, this is where the scenic route for Moody took place, because moving forward, he knew from that point on that he was called to preach all over the entire world. I mean, talk about the scenic route. This man went all over the world preaching, evangelizing, starting schools. In fact, the Moody Bible Institute that is still very active today was born out of this. Moody shows us that we can serve the Lord in wonderful, wonderful ways. But when we let go and we allow God to draw the map for us and follow that map, it looks completely different. I don't think that we would be talking about Moody today had he not changed his perspective and decided, you know what, instead of doing something and then asking for God's blessing, I'm going to ask for God's direction first. God is a provider. He may not take you to where there are any fast food restaurants and easy ways to this leadership that we're talking about, but he will provide the manna. And that is exactly what he did in the desert. There was no way to feed these people. God fed them, and provision is God's middle name. That's how Moses could lead in such a large scale, grand way. The other day I saw this and I thought it was great. It said, "We may not know the future, but we know the one who does." That's enough. I love that. I'm going to leave you with a quote from Dwight L Moody that shows his humility. I mean, despite this grand adventure that he had and his walk with the Lord, it just shows how humble that he was. He said, "There are many of us who are willing to do great things for God, but few of us who are willing to do little things." It's those little things, guys. We can't all lead on a scale such as Moses or Dwight L Moody, but God is not looking for grandeur. He is looking for us to look to Him. And whatever route He has laid out for us, that's the route we need to take. So I encourage you every day to do little things for God and seek the Lord, seek Him and His route, however scenic it may be. I am so happy that you joined me today. I wish you blessings, blessings, and as always, I'm praying for everyone who views these videos. Have a great day, and until next time, slow down. Take the dirt road, believer.